Hey, if you're looking for the 5 essentials that every craps player needs to do when they go to the craps table, then stay tuned. This video is for you. My name is Joe and this is my Craps Master journey. Let's make it yours too. There's 5 things that every craps player should know or should try to master before they go to the casino and play craps at the craps table. And that's if they want to be successful in the game of craps. Number 1 on the list is recording everybody's throws. Now this is important because it's going to help you know where you should be in the strategy according to the roll count that the shooter is on. It'll help you determine the number of average rolls that each shooter has, or the average number of rolls that the table is having, whether it's a hot table or a cold table. And it's going to allow you to adjust your strategy according to how the table is performing. It'll also help you to identify signature numbers or numbers that each shooter might be repeating as they're rolling the dice. So it might be that they're hitting more 9s or more 6s or more 5s or even the 4s or 10s, Wayland's numbers. But for what it's worth, in the future, I'm going to record 8 different videos that you can watch that's going to show you how to record your throws. And that's throws that you can record in the casino or when you're at home practicing, whether it be on a table that you might have made, a table that you bought, or even on your phone app. And these strategies you can take and use them as I show you. Or hey, you might even be able to find a way to combine them, so that way you come up with your own strategy. If that's the case, leave that in the comment section of this video. Let me know how you're using this information. Number 2 is managing your chip rail. Great chip rail management will allow you to know where you are along your journey for that session. It'll help you know if you've met your profit goals or your stop loss goals. Click on the link on the top right side of the screen for the Knowing Your Limits video that I put out a while back. And that'll show you a good plan to follow so you can set up your profit goals and your stop loss goals. Managing your chip rail will also protect you from leakage, which is basically when the chips slowly disappear because you're starting to spend more money on the strategies, more money than what you anticipated. Managing your chip rail also helps you become more focused on following your strategy and staying true to it, so that way you don't deviate or wander off when you think the table is hot or a good shooter might be coming up. It's going to help you stay consistent and hopefully in the long run help prevent or minimize your losses. In the future, I'm going to present 6 different videos on chip rack management. Something that you could take to the casino and use exactly how I show you in the videos. Or hey, you might be able to combine the strategies and come up with your own. Again, leave in the comments any kind of strategy that you might come up that's different than what I have shown you. Also, if you like the stuff that I'm presenting, give me that thumbs up. Or hey, if you don't like it, give me a thumbs down 2 times. So that way it is feedback in the YouTube system. Every little bit helps. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure that you do subscribe because it doesn't cost anything and it does support me a lot. So please support me by subscribing and give me that thumbs up at the end of this video. Number 3 is promoting the game of craps. Now, promoting the game of craps is extremely important because craps is kind of a slowly dying table game in the casino. You're finding that there's less and less craps tables out there, and the cost for the craps tables are going up. It used to be that $5 and $10 tables were kind of the expected. Now that's becoming the minority. Most tables are going to 15, 25, or even higher. The biggest promotion of craps that you could do is teaching table etiquette. And I'll cover that in more in detail in a future video coming up where I'm going to go through all the different types of etiquette that you can actually practice, whether you're the shooter or the bettor, whether you're promoting the game of craps to people that are onlooking. Hey, have that positive attitude, have that smile on your face, and teach that etiquette, things that you should or should not do at the craps table. To promote the game of craps, you also need to be willing to help teach new people as they walk up to the table. They're going to be asking questions. Hey, how's this game played? What's the goal here? Why are they throwing the dice a certain way? What numbers are they betting on? How do you place your bets? These are all different questions that a newbie or a person walking up to the table that's interested in the game of craps might ask you. And if you're not the shooter, there's no reason why you should not take the time out to try to explain at least the basics of craps to these people. That's a positive promotion for the game of craps. And the more people we get interested in craps, the more popular it's going to be at the casino. And hopefully the more tables they have, and hopefully the lower the table limits will be. This is an old person game, kind of. And we're trying to get new and more people in the game, especially females and younger people in their 20s and 30s, so that way they're excited about the game of craps just like we are. Another way you can promote the game of craps is by helping the shooter. And I'm going to cover this in a future video as well, but things like making sure the landing zone is if you're on the opposite side of the table, making sure that people around the shooter are not disrupting them, being too loud or becoming physically in the way, putting their hands on the table, things like that. And I'm going to cover again, like I said in a future video, things that you can do to help promote that shooter. So that way they have a better experience and hopefully a better role where you can profit off of it. You can also help the dealers when you're doing this. Helping a dealer by placing your bets at a proper time, not demanding your payment when it's not your time to get paid. By explaining your bets, or hey, even if you have a question, talk to the dealers. Dealers probably know more about the game than a lot of you guys do because they're around it for long periods of time. Well, we're there for only a matter of minutes or maybe even an hour or two, or if you're in a marathon, maybe 3 hours, but hey, I don't recommend that. Again, your strategy will determine where you are and how long you stay at that table. Promoting responsible gambling is a big thing. Hey, craps is not a cheap game. The average round, the average shooter, you might be spending anywhere between $50 to $200 or $300 even on that shooter. So how can we promote responsible gambling? If you see a person that has a problem, make sure that you try to help them if they're willing to receive that help. You can win thousands of dollars in minutes, or you can lose thousands of dollars just as fast. So that high of winning or the low of losing could affect a person emotionally, and that might affect whether they have a problem and whether they want to keep on coming back even though they don't have that money budgeted for them. Look out for in the future for a video that I have on promoting the responsible gambling for craps players and casino goers for that matter that you see around you. Finally, to help promote the game of craps, start promoting some of these other channels. I'm going to come up with a video in the future that has 25 of my favorite channels. Channels that have, first of all, great people that are running them, people that are really interested and are positive role models for the game of craps. But, these content creators might have, strategies that are for the newbie or the low roller. They might have strategies for that middle of the road person. And they might have some strategies for some higher roller tables and higher limit tables, And, again, check that video out. These are going to be 25 of the most prominent craps channels and 25 of the best teachers that are on YouTube. But hey, remember, we're not professionals in the game of craps. We like to talk about craps, we like to teach about craps, but we could still learn. Not everyone that presents craps on YouTube is the best or is the most knowledgeable on the game. So make sure it is buyer beware and that you actually take the message from several different people before you run off the casino and try their strategies. And hey, practice it at home also, but promoting the game of craps through supporting the content creator. So give them that thumbs up, subscribe to their channels, make comments on their videos. Every little bit helps them and the game of craps. Number 4 is observing the table. You need to be able to identify the table trends, whether it's the way the dice are rolling, or local trends, the way that certain people bet at different casinos, or just learning, what's appropriate to do and what you should not be doing at that table. Every table has a different way of going about things. You can also look at other people's racks when you walk up to the table. Hey, is it a rack that has lots of colors in it? Meaning, lots of whites, reds, greens, some blacks, maybe even higher like purples or blues. But, that's going to tell you a lot. If the table is hot, you're going to see a rack with a lot of different colors in their rack. But if you walk up to a table and all you see is whites or reds or very few chips in the trays, chances are that might be a cold table. And depending on whether it's a hot or cold table, it's going to affect how you play the game of craps if you want to be successful. Whether you go on the dark side or play the don't, or whether you go and play the light side or play the pass line, or have a strategy that's aggressive, or a strategy that's a little bit more conservative, something that you're not quite spending as much money. So, table conditions is going to be a big thing. Also the table itself is something that you need to consider. Look at the bets that are on the table. Do they have an ATS? Do they have a fire bet? What kind of prop bets are available? Also, the table surface is important to you. Is it a hard surface? Is it a bouncy surface? How is it going to affect your dice when you do roll? Again, I'm going to cover more about this in a future video, things that you should look for and things that you can do to adjust to the different conditions on that table. Number 5 on this list of top 5 essentials that you should know when walking up to a craps table is be prepared. And by this, there's lots of different things you can do to prepare yourself for the craps table. First of all, you should know your limits. You should know what your goal is when you walk up to the craps table before you even get there, or what your stop loss is going to be. And this is all based on the bankroll that you bring, and that's financially available for you to spend at the casino. You need to prepare to block other people out. You want to have your game set up in a way that is comfortable for you. If someone is at the other side of the table and they're yelling or doing all these different motions, things that you feel uncomfortable with or that throw you off your game, you need to be able to mentally prepare yourself to block these individuals out. The table can get quite loud at times, or sometimes you're at a quiet table and you have that loud, obnoxious person at the other end that might throw you off your game. Hey, don't let that happen, because if you prepare yourself mentally, you're going to be able to get yourself through that and hopefully not have that disrupt your shots. You also need to prepare the day of. What kind of strategy you're going to have when you go and play at the casino. What's your bankroll? How long are you going to be there? Different things like this will affect how you play the game of craps when you do go to the casino and whether you're going to be successful or not. So make sure that you prepare for that day and prepare before you get into the casino. Hey, don't do it at the table. Don't fly on the loose, because that is usually a sure way to start losing money and to lose any bankroll that you might bring. Another way that you can prepare for at the casino is actually preparing ahead of time. If you have the opportunity, if you have a craps table or a throwing station at home, or even your phone using an app, practice your strategies before you get into the casino. Don't just do it 1 or 2 times, but do it 10, 20, 30, a couple hundred times. So that way when you do get at the table, you're able to follow it without any hesitation, without any hiccups. Because sometimes, like I said, that table does get exciting. And if you get to an exciting table and you're not prepared to roll your strategy out, you're going to get carried away, and that's where the leakage comes from. That's where you start losing your money. That's where you start making bad bets. Again, future videos, things that we're going to go through on how to prepare yourself by practicing your strategy ahead of time. Look forward to those videos coming up. And the last thing is visualize. You're going to prepare at the craps table by visualizing everything that's going to come through. If you're the shooter, visualizing having good shots, visualizing not throwing a big bad red number, the number we can't say it. We can't say it at the craps table. Visualize how you're going to address somebody if they're not that's standing next to you, if they're not helping the cause of craps, if they're disruptive to the shooter. Visualize how you're going to be able to educate these new people that are come up and asking, and how you're going to help promote the game of craps. Visualize how you're going to talk to the dealers, how you're going to include the dealers, whether you're going to tip them, whether you're not, whether you help them or whether you don't. Visualize all these things, because the more mentally prepared you are before you get to the casino, the more mentally prepared you will be the day of that you do go to the casino. So the 5 things that we covered was recording every roll that you go through, using proper chip management, promoting the game of craps, observing the table conditions and things that are going around you, and then also preparing yourself for the game of craps for when you get in there. Look forward to the videos coming up in the future. But in the meantime, hey, if you get a chance, look at the link on the right side of your screen. And that'll give you, whatever side it is here, that'll give you a link to the playlist that I have of becoming a better craps player. Something I've been working very intensely on. And there's going to be a ton of videos in there. And all my future videos will also be put into that playlist. So make sure you check it out. But anyhow, hey, my name is Joe, and this is my Craps Master journey. Let's make it yours too.